We've always been entrepreneurs. That's who we are. So one day I'm driving along in northern Sacramento and I see a guy building a little drive-through building and a little window on each side. It was maybe 12 feet by 15 feet, really tiny building, no bathroom, no refrigeration. And I asked him what he was doing and he told me he was building a drive-through coffee place. And I went back that night and told Linda, this guy's onto something. When he opened up, I'd just go sit in the morning and watch his business and the cars, going like this. So when our daughters graduated from high school in Sacramento, we moved back to Omaha and started Scooters.
So we actually had to come back here and get jobs. Don worked at Herman Nuts, and I was a waitress.
We knew that we'd have trouble getting the money, so we had saved the money. We had the money to build our first store with cash, and so we didn't want to waste that by living on it. But we also didn't want to be unfair to employers, and you come back and you take a job, and we knew this was going to be a very short-term deal, so I took a temporary job with Herman Nut Company, just delivering nuts to the grocery stores and restaurants for a few months while we were getting our first store built.
Together, their boots-on-the-ground mentality got them through the opening of their first location and kept the business afloat.
When you're starting off and you've got to be profitable in the first store before you go on to the second. Because I think the mistake, and I've made it myself, Linda said we were serial entrepreneurs, but I didn't know what I was doing early on. And you don't know anything about cost of goods, you don't know anything about cost of labor, you don't know anything about percentages, you don't know anything about cash management or budgeting, you just don't understand those things. The second store, when we opened the second store, I ran one and she ran the other.
So then he got his store and I got mine, and back then we didn't have a delivery truck or anything. I would go to Albertsons and get all the milk and all the whipped cream and just take it to both stores, and I'd do all the laundry for both stores.
And that's when our kids got a little more involved and our sons-in-law got a little bit involved, and we started roasting our own coffee at that point. And that's when we created Harvest Roasting at that point as well. Started distributing products to our stores. And our deal was we're going to sell the better cup of coffee than pretty much anybody, high quality stuff. We're going to smile at people and we're going to do it rocket fast. And that's what we're going to focus on. And we trademarked actually that phrase, amazing people serving amazing drinks amazingly fast, probably 15, 18 years ago.
Once they had built trust with their customers and created a sustainable business model, they set their sights on franchise expansion.
We had our first store, and then when he said, I think we could have 7 or maybe even 10. And I'm like, no way.
I think it was 2002 is when we started franchising. It might have been 2001, but I think it was 2002. And franchising back in those days was basically friends and family said, hey, I want to own one of those. And it's like, well, you can't, but thanks for stopping by. But customers would come through too and say, I want to own one of those. And like I said, eventually you just get to a point where you say, you know what, maybe franchising isn't a bad idea. And you realize all of a sudden that if you're going to have 10 stores or 20 stores, it's hard to hire people that care as much as you do. And so what we thought is franchising would be a great way for us to bring in people who care about the business as much as we do, because they're buying a business and they'll take it as seriously as we do. The business has evolved tremendously since then. Now it's a real business, but we still tell people all the time, it's about that relationship with the customer. And if all you want to do is hand out a cup of coffee out the window and hopefully take a wheelbarrow full of money to the bank at the end of the week, you might as well just buy a hamburger franchise or a pizza franchise and hand a sack of hamburgers out the window, because that's not how our model works. And it's important that we don't lose focus of that.
By treating everyone they came across like family, Don and Linda have built more than a business. They've built a reputation of putting community first.
When we think about what we can do in the community, we don't necessarily think we have to change the world, but if we can change somebody's world. So the scholarships that we offer, we call them grit scholarships. We do scholarships at camps also. We love the idea, for example, of a kid just being a kid for a week. Somebody's got to put their arm around kids and tell them there's scholarships available, there's grants available, there's mentorships available, there's people that will help you. I really do believe that we have an obligation to help people.
Alongside their reputation as community leaders, Don and Linda hope they're also building a legacy of caring.
I feel honored to be able to stand up for all the folks in this building and say thank you. That's the big thing for me. We started this thing, we had the idea, and we've worked really hard, but we've done nothing without somebody standing shoulder to shoulder with us all the way.
It's just hard to believe, really. It's such an honor. And like Don said, a big thank you to all the people that work with us. Because we couldn't have done this by ourselves. I mean, we just couldn't have.